failure is not only an option, it's a necessity, I think, because you need to kind of figure out through your different iterations what you're looking for. Now, I'm not saying like catastrophic failures, right? I'm saying
Yeah, yeah.
there's ways to shortcut that. In fact, I've had a couple different interesting conversations over the last week um, on similar concepts of different ways to shortcut it. And like, hey, learn from my mistakes. These are the things that I recommend you do. And you hope that they rethink the thought process, right? They're like, oh, yeah, that wasn't something I thought about in the past, and you're making me rethink it. You're like, cool, all right, you're going down the right path. Versus, no, I really just like I just want to have a kind of a short-term stopgap, right? And okay, that's fine, but you're now, maybe you weren't in Excel spreadsheet or spreadsheet hell, and you're putting yourself there. And I'm like, stop. Before you go down that path, you're gonna have to change this process in a year or two because you're creating yourself another wall. Um, and so understanding what your final goal looks like what are you trying to achieve, and then working your way back. That's an exercise that Andrew and I went through over the last couple of years of like, okay, how do we get to where we want to go? And then you reverse engineering. So defining that data, what is that? What is that information that I need to have to be able to hit those goals? And then having the process that's repeatable to be able to hit those goals. And so I'll give you a little example. And I'm obviously, I come from, on these videos, I'm a security expert, but the reality is that I actually deal with a lot of sales and marketing. And so I'll talk about the sales process. And so it, having to bring in new salespeople, right? You have a timeline of when you get them up and going, and how fast you get them up and going is how fast you start bringing value back to that specific initiative, the dollars that you're spending on that employee. And in iterations in the past, I was taking, 4, 5, 6 months to starting to get some traction with a new sales person. And over the time of defining the data I was looking for and documenting the process and refining that process over and over again, I'm now in more like a 6 week, 2 month process where I'm actually starting to see significant reproducible results. And so you look at that from just that small scenario on just sales alone, and you start using that in other departments. That's a ton of savings, like in the tunes of hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on your multiplier. I had an interesting conversation, and kind of going back to committing and then going to committing to systems. Like, pick your system, right? Stick with it, do your research, get somebody that knows the business and knows technology to help you with that. Because every time you switch to a new system, one, you have to rebuild your system, you have to remove all your documentation in your process, you have to retool everything, right? Uh,
Hmm.
your centralized system isn't just like, oh, this is going to solve all my problems. Like, no, you have to build everything into it. And so I actually had a conversation today, and I had to check. I'm like, is he on this call? I don't want to talk bad about it. And I'm not talking bad, but it's a common thing that I hear all the time of uh, this person had gone through and retooled systems 2 or 3 times over the
Right.
last 2 years. And I said, what does that cost your business? He said, probably $1 million.
Yeah.
$1 million in 2 years. Like, that's unconceivable to me, right? And that's because when somebody's not, you don't have the people to help you through that process of making the right decision, making sure it has all the things that you need, or evaluating the systems that you're in to see if they're capable of doing what you're trying to accomplish. People look at buying hope, right? They're going to buy that system that looks awesome. The salesperson does a great job of saying, "Yep, it's going to do everything you want it to." The reality is that you're lucky if you get 80% of what the salesperson told you was actually going to do, right?
Yeah.
I'm in sales. Like, I try to deliver 98% of what I told him I was going to be able to do, but most of the time it's about 80%. And then you're lied to about how much it's going to cost to implement it. Right. And so every time you do that, because you're buying hope that this system is going to solve all your problems, but you don't put the time in to make it work, and you don't put the time in to build your business in it, then basically you're just going to go look for the next system in the hopes that the new system will fix all your problems. And the answer is you're going to continue to buy forever. And it's at the tune of millions and millions of dollars. And so I'm just going to tell you right now, pick one, stick with it, and really build out your processes. It may not solve 100% of your problems, but it's probably going to solve 95% of them.